Hello, welcome to Sound Off with System One. I'm your host, Krista, and I'm here today with our panel of experts to discuss how to use AI to land your next opportunity. Before we get started, here are a few words about System One. System One is a leading provider of specialized, highly technical outsourced services and workforce solutions to critical infrastructure, technology, life sciences, and government sectors, putting more than 650 employees and 9,000 contractors to work in the United States, Canada, and the UK. As you're tuning in today, please join us in the comments. Our marketing team will be monitoring them. Let us know where you're joining from and what industry you work in, and any questions you have for our experts. And next, I'm going to let our panel of experts introduce themselves. They're also going to be sharing their hot jobs, which you can view by scanning the QR code or by visiting jobs.system1.com. John, we'll start with you.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. My name is John Jansen. I'm a senior staffing coordinator with System One out of Edison, New Jersey. My hot job this week is for an engineering associate in South Plainfield. The position is contract to hire. The work is completed on site. It's for a first shift. The pay rate is $25 to $27 an hour. It's a hands-on role, helping to improve how high-tech products are made, specifically photonic chip development. This would be working in a clean lab-style environment, supporting production teams, using testing tools to check product quality, to solve issues, train other operators, and it's really a great fit for someone looking to start a career in engineering. A bachelor's or master's degree is required. With some clean room experience, they're looking for degrees in electrical engineering, material science, chemistry, mechanical engineering. And the company is actually based in China, so they really do prefer those that are fluent in Mandarin. But they do have flexibility to English-speaking candidates. It's a hot opportunity with the potential to become an engineer, so we're really excited about it.
Hey, good afternoon, all. I'm Joseph Miller. I'm the branch manager and director here at Alta, which is a System One company. We specialize in staffing for IT roles in the federal and commercial spaces. Today, we have a service desk tower lead open for one of our federal clients that's on site in Arlington, Virginia. A public trust clearance is required, or hopefully folks are eligible for it. It's a 6-month contract to hire position. It will oversee the day-to-day operations of the service desk, ensuring timely resolution of technical issues and playing a critical role in managing a team of support analysts. The qualifications include a V3 or V4 foundation certification, 10 years of experience in service desk services, and at least 5 years in IT outsourcing environment.
Hey guys, I'm Phil Massarian. I'm out of Tampa, Florida, senior practice lead with Tech USA, a System One company. The hot job that I have is a senior electrical engineer out of St. Petersburg, Florida. They're looking for somebody who is licensed, has their PE, at least 10 plus years experience. They must have, either commercial, industrial, or healthcare background, proficient in Revit software, can be client facing, as well as lead and grow a team. This position is paying anywhere from $120 to $160. This is a direct hire position, and this is a newer office, so they are looking to grow this with their other 2 offices that they have out of Tennessee and out of Sarasota, Florida.
Awesome. Those are great opportunities. And again, make sure you connect with our recruiters. If you're interested in these roles, please scan the QR code. We're going to get started with our questions. If you have any questions for our panel, please drop them in the chat. Our first question, in your experience, how effective is AI at customizing applications for specific roles? And what tips do you have for blending AI suggestions with your personal storytelling? John, we'll start with you.
Sure. I mean, this is probably the most popular feature of AI is, what can I do with it? How can I customize what I'm looking to do for specific roles, or how can I blend it with my personal storytelling? I think AI is great at identifying relevant keywords and aligning phrasing from your background with job descriptions very quickly. Candidates should add personal achievements and metrics that AI can't know to get to the full story. But I just think it's critical to always revise the AI output to ensure that it reflects your true voice and your story.
Yeah, I think just on the back of what John said, I think using it as a think partner is absolutely essential, but also making sure that it's not taking away the human elements of how we communicate and how we represent ourselves. So I think it's important to use it as a think partner to customize our applications, but also make sure that we have our voice there and we don't sound too much like a bot when we're sending in our resumes.
They pretty much covered most of it. Biggest thing, making it personal, using words that you would actually use, not something that a robot would. Also, whatever it does give to you, make sure you're studying that. So when you're asked those questions, that you can actually sound knowledgeable about what was actually on your resume and not something that someone else wrote or an AI wrote for you.
Absolutely. I think we can all tell now when we're reading something that's AI generated. What are the biggest mistakes you've seen candidates make when using AI to generate or edit resumes and cover letters, and how can they avoid them? Joey, we'll start with you.
Sure. So I think generative AI as a whole is getting better at this with each version that it uses. I personally use ChatGPT, but I know the other ones are getting a little bit better as well. So hallucinations are when the generative AI is essentially putting something into place that's not necessarily true or it is not fact checked. So I think sometimes when we are asking it to help put together a resume for us, it might automatically fill in something that we might not have experience with. So I think it's important to make sure that we are not only reviewing this for grammatical and spelling mistakes. It can make those mistakes as well, but making sure that it's not having these hallucinations and putting something on a resume that might be false or something that we can't speak to in our experience.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. The biggest things for me is that, putting this into AI, it's great. It might provide you the right context. A lot of times it gives you incorrect or outdated formatting that doesn't meet employer standards. And as Krista mentioned, forgetting that recruiters can spot AI tone immediately. That's what stands out to me.
There's certain markers that AI leaves behind. I know one of them in ChatGPT is called an M dash. It's something that most humans don't ever use. That's probably the biggest indicator. And then, like they said, using words that you're not using, different things that aren't really human. So that's the biggest thing, is proofreading everything and making sure that it's you.
Absolutely. Proofreading will never go away. And how can candidates leverage AI to research company specific questions or predict interviewer styles? Phil, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so when you're interviewing for a specific role, you can ask the AI to almost be as that interviewer, to ask you questions that that person might ask you for that specific job that you're interviewing for. So you can actually practice with that AI. You can have it do some research on the company that maybe you don't find, that it does all that work for you up front. Asking about projects, portfolios, anybody that's important, that's relevant to the job. So it does a lot of the bulk lifting, so to say, but you're still looking it over and doing everything that you need to be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my takeaways was that you can use AI, and I use it every day, whether I'm doing business development or trying to obtain company information. It really just kind of cuts to the chase and gets you the summary that you need on company culture, their values, any recent news. As you're moving through the interview, it's always great to share any knowledge that you might have on the background of the company or what gets you excited. So that can really help you carve that out. And then kind of, as we mentioned, just generating basic interview questions or behavioral based interview questions and working through a practice with ChatGPT or whatever AI to kind of parse that out for yourself.
Yeah, I think those are both good points. We're always trying to figure out a way to set ourselves apart, right, in the interview process. And I think to John's point, what is the company value and what problems are they solving, and how can I help them with my background and experience? And I think you can really get into the prompt and ask it to give you a very diverse answer and almost have it be conversational, so that you can learn that and take it into the interview process.
Yeah, I think that's a huge value. You're obviously not going to find the pain points of a company on the website. So AI is very useful in that regard. How might job seekers use AI to explore career paths or identify hidden job opportunities that align with their skills and interests? John, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I just think it's great that you can work with something that can really give you this information. I mean, obviously, it's the most obvious point of like an AI ChatGPT, but I think that you could put your resume into AI and suggest like compatible industries or roles that might be good for you that you might not have thought about. They can help uncover transferable skills that you might not recognize. And really, AI can map the next logical step based on your career history and goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually I was chatting with Phil before this conversation about this exact topic. I think the cool thing about AI is that you can really hone into different industries that you might not be aware of. So having a conversation like, "Hey, here's my resume. Here's my experience. Here's my skills. I'd love to know what other opportunities that I can get into or might be qualified from an adjacent or growing vertical that I might not be aware of." And you'd be amazed at how much stuff it'll kind of spit back out at you. And then again, just kind of continuing to have a conversation to explore those opportunities.
Yeah, piggybacking off what they said, prompting AI is the biggest thing. Putting in your resume, seeing what jobs work for you. Also, you can ask it where can you apply to certain jobs, and they will actually pull up a list and tell you those websites that are clickable websites that you can then apply to directly. And then not every company has the same title for that role that you may be used to. And AI can break down the different types of titles that it can actually be. So if maybe you're a project manager at one place, maybe it's a project coordinator at a different place, but you're technically doing the same thing. So AI can broaden that search for you.
Awesome. And we have a question from someone in our audience. I notice a lot of companies are asking not to use AI for cover letters and resumes, but they use it for job descriptions. Why the double standard? It's a good question.
It is a great question. It's hard to really. I think what they're getting at is that dumping your information into an AI chatbot and just having it marry that to a job description really doesn't help me understand who you are, what your personality is, what sort of things you bring to the table outside of like purely created language. There's just something that putting a human factor on it, really just obviously get you to that human factor. But I don't know. I mean, I would say that using it just really doesn't do anything for me if you just take what it says and paste it over to me. I think if you even give it a try, if you give yourself a couple of minutes to read through what its output, you'll feel like this really isn't speaking to me. So.
Yeah, I think it's all about customization and humanization, right? And it might feel unfair as a candidate when we're looking at that and seeing, hey, this is generated by a generative AI or chatbot. It kind of feels almost unfair, but I think they have the opportunity open, and I think they're as a company are trying to attract people, and also it just gives you the opportunity to really express yourself and individualize yourself. So I think companies are saying that, but on the other end, we should want to do that, right? We should want to have a piece of our own personality and not just something that we necessarily like copy and paste it off of a job description.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, double standards exist, especially on the company side. They're doing it to save time. Obviously, a lot of people looking for work, trying to save time as well, but they do want to see you putting the effort in that you're interested in the job and customizing it for their specific job. So I wouldn't say don't ever use it, but I think that you should just use it sparingly, essentially.
Absolutely. And thank you for the question. We're going to move on to our next one. What's your advice on using AI to optimize LinkedIn profiles, generate networking messages, or even analyze connections for potential referrals? Joey, we'll start with you.
Sure. So I think I've used it on the BD end. It sounds like John is using that quite a bit as well. I definitely have used it to scan some of my network and find similar connections. So, hey, ChatGPT, I'm working with XYZ company. Scan LinkedIn and tell me which companies are similar and who I should be reaching out to for those companies. This is one of my favorite clients, and this is why. And it'll scan LinkedIn or other social platforms and find you a few folks that you should be connecting with. And that's how I use it for BD.
Yeah, that's great. I'm big on LinkedIn optimization. And so this is just another use case for AI to assist you. If just with LinkedIn in general, you should be focused on your headline, your summary, your work experience within the content that you're putting in. LinkedIn is a place where recruiters run searches to find candidates similar to job boards, but they can really dive deep into a lot of the content from your background. So you can use AI to help you refine your headlines. The headline in your profile is like the #1 index location that matches to recruiters' search terms. So it'd be really good to use it for that, for your summaries, for your experience and keyword alignment. But really, I think it works best with like just generating that they have a limit on how many characters you can use when you're sending a message out to somebody. So using it to just generate an impactful message, less than 200 characters that speaks to your background, really could help you work through that project.
Yeah, you have to look at LinkedIn as your new resume. Your resume is not going to be able to get everywhere at all times, but the recruiters, like us, we're looking for the right talent, and if it's not on there, your specific skill set, we're not going to know. So you need to look at that as just a way to market yourself, even if you're not actively looking for a job. You never know who is looking for you that could have your dream job. As far as analyzing the connections and potential, referrals, you might not know who the right point of contact is. Everybody can apply on a website or on LinkedIn, but if you know who maybe the hiring manager is or the right person to reach out to, AI can help list that out for you by job title or who it may be, and then you can then generate a message to send to that person directly to help expedite your process and go around the old-fashioned applying online way.
Absolutely. Work smarter, not harder. And as a recruiter, how do you detect AI generated content in applications? And what are your thoughts on candidates disclosing their use of AI? Joey, we'll start with you.
Sure. Yeah, I was talking to a client the other day that's starting to invest in a software that actually does this for them. And I thought that was really interesting. So I think there's a software way to do it now, which I have not used myself, but I thought that was very interesting. And then I think it all comes back to being humanistic and authentic in tone, right? We can kind of read through something, at least right now, where we read through it and say, hey, this was probably generated through an AI chatbot. So not having any personality, perfect grammar, super overly formal. And once you see that resume and talk to that person in the interview process, you might be able to say, hey, this person doesn't really talk this way. I think it's important to beef up your resume, but not necessarily use language in terms that you might not use every day or understand.
Yeah, again, it's so important to just double check, the output from the AI and just make sure, again, it's that human factor. Typically, right out of your first attempt or your second attempt at putting it through AI, you'll see that it generates a lot of repetitive phrasing, overly polished structure, and giveaway or dead giveaways. A lot of times, if I'm asking it to upgrade a bullet point in a resume or something, it'll add a whole nother line about how that is a specific fit for the job listed right within the bullet. So it's kind of a dead giveaway that you're trying to match up your experience to the job. So you have to kind of just look through it and audit to make sure that it is having that human factor. But the added language to common statements or misplaced context or a dead giveaway, it's really just about how you use it, not if you use it. But just again, going back through and double checking the work.
Absolutely. And what ethical guidelines should job seekers follow when using AI in their job search to avoid damaging their credibility? Phil, we'll start with you.
Yeah, AI is not always the final answer. It's supposed to be used as a strong assistant, somebody that can really guide you through your process, how to, put down who you are on paper, for the resume purposes, and kind of mimicking what everybody is saying. You have to sound human. I know there's some apps out there that auto apply for you, and sometimes if companies respond and you have no idea that you even applied to that position, then it starts to question if you even did it yourself or if some AI service just did all the applying for you, and then word gets out and it's usually not on the best look for you.
Yeah, I think the general rule of thumb here, and we mentioned it answering the last question, if you can't defend it in an interview or speak to it in an interview, it's probably not worth putting on your resume. And I think a lot of times that some things get inflated, achievements get inflated. Maybe there's some fake experience or fake certifications on resumes. So I think it's important not to kind of shoot yourself in the foot there and make sure that you can speak to everything that is on your resume.
Yeah, I think the theme for the takeaway there is just, credibility is much greater than convenience.
Well said. And in terms of AI, what skills should job seekers develop to stay competitive? John, we'll start with you.
Well, I mean, when I say basic AI literacy, it's, that's where I would start. But how do you get, basic AI literacy? It's really just try to talk to it a little bit. And you'll find that when you're trying to explain your thought to the chatbot, its answer may not be right on target with what you're expecting. So changing and shortening and trying to be more concise with your prompts will really help it, because you have something in your mind you're trying to convey to the chatbot, but it's not thinking the same way you are. So you just have to get really good at explaining what you would like to get from it in very concise terms that are effective. So if you try to ask it a question, maybe ask it the same question multiple times to see if you can get closer to the answer you're looking for in a more accurate way as well.
Yeah, I think having a positive mindset too with this, right? I know that's sometimes hard to do if it's something that you're afraid of. It's a newer technology for most of us that we're adopting. But I think it's something that really can help us be efficient in all different areas. I think one of the things that I have taken the most, I guess, advantage from is learning how to do prompt engineering. And I think at the simplest form, just asking any kind of generative AI to help you write a prompt. That was kind of like the turning point for me, where, if you're not great at writing prompts, it will help you. It will think of things that you might not have thought of. It will help you bring context to things. If you ask it to ask you questions about what you're trying to do, all of those things combined will help you get a much greater outcome than just, writing a question yourself. So I think having a positive mindset and just kind of playing around with prompts and asking it to help you is really important.
Yeah, and I mean, I know some people feel that AI is going to take over other people's jobs, which is probably not the case. But practice makes perfect. You kind of have to dive in head first. I know a friend of mine would say, change is scary, but at the end of the day, AI is really the way of the future as far as helping make our jobs easier, and that's what we have to look at. And you just really have to get in there and practice. Same way with sports. You can ask it for feedback, and anybody who's on social media, whether it's YouTube or TikTok, there's people that are always explaining how to do things with AI every day. And as AI learns and grows and gets more advanced, you're going to want to stay with that curve essentially, because it's only going to benefit you, because most people's jobs have AI in some capacity. So learning it and using it is just going to help you better your career and better your chances in the future.
Absolutely. If we don't adapt with it, we will fall behind. So there's a lot of great courses on prompt engineering. Highly recommend you look into any of them. And what's one of the underrated AI hacks that you've seen job seekers use successfully to land opportunities, and why do they work? Joey, we'll start with you.
Sure. So I'm not sure what version of ChatGPT allows you to do this, but I have been using an agentic version of ChatGPT. So I will give ChatGPT a task, and that can be, hey, I'm interested in XYZ jobs. Here's my resume. Scan the area, put some more outcome, or put some more parameters in. Scan the job boards every day and find me something that's close to this, and it'll bring back the 3 best results. Every morning it'll deliver it to me at 9 o'clock in the morning, so I have it fresh in my inbox. I think stuff like that is really an amazing way to use it for efficiency purposes, and to cut down time on our job search. I know the job search can be something that's just incredibly taxing, especially if it's something that in this environment that we're always trying to get interviews, and it seems a little bit daunting. So it's just a way to cut down on some of the stress and the time. So I think that's important.
Oh, that's good. I think one of the hacks I've seen is just, somebody kind of starting a project with AI. It's just instead of a standard inquiry, you can just kind of create an ongoing project with the AI. It's available right on the dashboard. But just feeding past interview feedback or scenarios into the AI for improvement suggestions. You can keep this going in real time, continually feed it, and kind of evolve it over time when you have new jobs available and it's working with you to try to prepare for that interview. But really, the AI is great, but I think the real sweet spot for success is kind of combining AI with a human review. So no better time to drop, reaching out to a System One recruiter for the jobs that we have available, also for our perspective on these type of things.
Yeah, and with AI, the big thing with as far as resumes and writing is you might not know what keywords to include. What skill set you have, but you can even put in the company you're working at and the type of job that you're doing, and then ask what things that you're doing now that could be relative or helpful to include on a resume for the job that you're trying to apply for. And you list the company and the position, and it can help kind of advocate on your behalf and expand what maybe you can't think of or what you don't think is important, but it really is. So really, AI is just uh, somebody who is extremely smart at their job that does it for you or helps you.
Absolutely. And I think with the use of AI and a recruiter, a System One recruiter, you really have all of the tools in your toolbox to be successful in your job search. We are out of time for today, but thank you for the comments and thank you to our panel. Don't forget to follow System One on LinkedIn if you're not already, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for past Sound Off with System One episodes. Make sure you tune in every first and third Friday of the month. That's when we have our new episodes. And our next Sound Off with System One will be on Friday, November 7th, and we'll be having a live Q&A. See you all there.